Hi everyone, this is APO Sports, and today we're going to be evaluating winning players versus talented players, and then we're going to analyze and see if we can uncover who those winning players are for the Indiana Fever that can contribute come playoff time. If you enjoy these type of analysis and videos, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. So I there I believe that there's a huge difference between players who are winners and players who are just talented. And I just want to provide some examples so that we can just run through this exercise real quick and then get to the evaluation of the Indiana Fever. And I'm going to grab three examples from each sport. So we're going to start with football. So in the American football in the NFL, and I'm going to compare who is a talented quarterback versus a winning quarterback. And this may be a point of contention. So if you have some comments and disagree with what I'm presenting here, just, you know, you can feel free to do so in the comments. So so we all agree that Tony Romo was a much better quarterback than Tim Tebow. I think that we don't need to analyze that too much. We can watch the games and we know that Tony Romo, in every aspect of quarterbacking, had a better arm, had better accuracy, had better movement, had everything, right? Like quicker release. Tony Romo was objectively a better quarterback than Team Tebow. However, Team Tebow was a winner and Tony Romo was not a winner. This is evident by the fact that Team Tebow, and again, you can blast me and you can say that a lot of this success was mostly the team and not Team Tebow, but it doesn't matter. You can look at his two NCAA championships, right? And I don't know, just take it up with that. But Team Tebow was a winner, and he was a starter at quarterback one season, only one season with the Denver Broncos that he was a starter. In that one season, he won a playoff game. Tony Romo played as a starter for 9 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys, and he only won two playoff games. So that essentially tells you the winner, which is Tebow, and I'm not saying Tony Romo's a loser, but he just doesn't have that. He doesn't have it. Whatever it is that it is, Tony Romo will not get you to the promised land, although he's extra talented. Let's now move to baseball. In baseball, we can absolutely agree that Alex Rodriguez was a much better baseball player than Derek Jeter. It's objectively, right? Alex Rodriguez won multiple MVPs, a bunch of MVPs, and all the awards and all the home run records and everything like that. Yes, you can say this steroids. I'm not. So we can include the steroids if you want to, but with or without the steroids, Alex Rodriguez was objectively a better baseball player than Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter was a winner. When it comes to playoff time and clutch situations, Derek Jeter elevated his game and he had an amazing batting average and just overall great numbers in the World Series and in the playoffs overall. Alex Rodriguez was not that good in the playoffs and in clutch situations with the teams that he played with. Uh, I don't know what happens to some players that they're talented, but when it comes to that type of focus and that type of pressure, they don't deliver, whereas some of these other players do. I will even include Yadier Molina, who, a catcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, who's going to be a Hall of Famer, but he wasn't a really good hitter during the regular season, and then during the playoffs, he used to kill it. So that's another example, and then I'll go into the NBA. And I think we all can agree that objectively, James Harden is a much better player than Alex Caruso. I mean, that's not even an analysis, right? James Harden, much better, much more talented. James Harden's going to be a Hall of Famer. Alex Caruso will probably not be a Hall of Famer, but Alex Caruso is a winner. James Harden is not. And I don't mean this just because Alex Caruso won a title with the Lakers in 2020 and that James Harden has never won a title. I don't mean it just in that, but you can tell on the court come playoff times that Alex Caruso just simply made winning plays. He scored in the clutch. You give him the ball, he'd score it, he won't turn it over. He just made winning plays. Whereas James Harden tended to kind of disappear come playoff time, even though, again, he was super talented. So we need now that we've kind of established that, and maybe you agree with me or maybe you don't, but this exercise is going to be based on how can we uncover the fever players that are going to be impactful in the playoffs. And what I'm going to do to evaluate that, and of course, the eye test shows us a lot. So a lot of these things that I'm going to say on all this data that I use, I don't use, like, if I watch the games and my eyes are telling me something about a particular player, I don't then go to the data, and then if the data disagrees, I'm not advocating for the data, right? It's a combination of both my observations and what the data says, because they tend to align. I'm not sure if it happens with you, like when you're watching a game and you're frustrated, and then you look at, and then the data essentially just backs up your argument. So that is essentially what I'm bringing here, and what I believe that is happening here with the Indiana Fever. Okay, so we're gonna look at these stats a little bit different, right? So I mean, stats will tell us a lot, and especially if you look at you're looking at specific statistics, so that you can analyze data that's going to help you make better decisions to understand who should be on the floor at certain times and who shouldn't. So these are the just traditional statistics for the season, right? So this is all games. Do advanced filters, all quarters, all outcomes, and this is all the players for the season, right? But regular season and all quarters, that's not going to tell me much. So I really want to look at fourth quarters, because this is really what tells you whether someone is focused, whether someone is making winning plays, whether someone can play under pressure. So I want to look at players and their performance in fourth quarters. I want to look at their shooting percentage. And so far, and yes, I've looked at this statistic, so maybe it's cheating a little bit, but what my eyes has told me this whole entire time is that Damaris Dantas tends to shoot better in the fourth quarter. It tells me that Lexi Hall shoots better in the fourth quarter. It tells me that Aaliyah Boston plays much better in the fourth quarter. It's telling me that Kelsey Mitchell plays better in the fourth quarter. And Caitlin Clark plays better in the fourth quarter. So let's see if that aligns in regards to shooting percentages and their plus minus, if that matches up with fourth quarter performances. So let's look at this real quick. I want to look at 3-point shooting percentage. And this 3-point shooting percentage to me is nuts, right? Especially from Lexi Hall. Because look at this. And this is one three-pointer attempt per fourth quarter. So this is a lot. This is not insignificant. 57% from three. Lexi Hall is just a hooper, right? I mean, we can tell with the eye test, we already know that Lexi Hall, when it comes to fourth quarter time, it's winning time. It's Lexi Hall time. You got to have her in the fourth quarter. Whenever Christy Size takes forever to bring her back in the fourth quarter, I'm just scratching my head. Where is Lexi Hall? Because you need her. 100% you need her. In Kelsey Mitchell, 3-point shooting percentage in the fourth quarter, 40%. Aaliyah Boston, I think she's only taken these 3 shots. I'm not sure, but even Aaliyah Boston, the team caught a lot of heat for that late 3 that Aaliyah Boston took, and I agreed. I didn't think that that should have been a play called for Aaliyah Boston. But if you look at these numbers, it kind of, and again, this doesn't tell me how many. You can look at totals. Let's see. Let's look at totals real quick and see how many 3-pointer attempts Aaliyah Boston. So, I mean, 11, taking 11 threes and hit 4, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good percentage. So again, I know that the coaching staff was getting killed and for the play, but here she had a better 3-point percentage in the fourth quarter than Dantas. And of course, you can't really compare it with Caitlin Clark, because Caitlin Clark has taken 75 threes in the fourth quarter. We will get a better indicator here, but according to these stats and the amount of 3-pointers that they've taken, she was your third best shooter in fourth quarter situations. But let's go back to per game. So we have that. This is, and I just kind of, again, looking at how they perform as far as their percentages, and really all of these players up here perform extremely well with shooting percentages, with 3-point shooting percentages. Now let's look at the plus minus and how they affect winning when it comes to fourth quarters. And I mean, I know that the eye test tells us this as well, but this is pretty telling, right? This is pretty telling. Dantas is it's 3.1 plus 3.1 in fourth quarter situations anytime that she's played. She's only played 11 games in fourth quarters, and she's a 3.1. That's all the value that Dantas is providing in fourth quarter situations. So she's a gamer, and this is the number one player. Well, of course you want Caitlin Clark. So I mean the number one player, not named Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hall, Kelsey Mitchell, that you want in the starting lineup. This is just who you want. And, if you comparing it to Tammy Fack-Bentley in fourth quarters, she's negative 1.4 and 54% from the free throw line. I mean, 66.7 from the free throw line is not that much better, but it's only 0.4 versus 0.5 attempts to 0.4 makes. So it's not really a lot to compare. Let's look at the totals. Dantas is 4 of 6. So it's hard to really evaluate her free throw shooting in the fourth quarter. Whereas 6 of 11, it's a bigger number that you can judge that this is not a good free throw shooter in fourth quarters. So yeah, so this is really telling. So these are all the players that you want to play in the fourth quarter. Dantas, Boston, Hall. You can't play Celeste Taylor anymore, but it's interesting that she's here, right? With only 5 games that she played, she was a positive in the fourth quarter. And during that time, right? That time when she was part of the team, this Fever team was not good. So I'm curious to know what the other players plus minus looked like when Celeste Taylor was part of the team. Because here she's sneaking in as she was a positive in fourth quarters, and this just tells me that Celeste Taylor is a clutch and a winner. And of course you want Caitlin Clark, and of course you want Kelsey Mitchell. I think these players right here, you could probably bring in Samuelson and Fack-Bentley, but that's it. Do not bring NaLyssa Smith. NaLyssa Smith should never play in the fourth quarter in the playoffs. Never. I don't want to see, if it's the playoffs and I see NaLyssa Smith in the fourth quarter, I'm going to believe that the coaching staff does not know what they're doing at all whatsoever and actually trying to lose these games. That's going to be my takeaway, because that's the only explanation for that. So these are your winners. So if you want to win the WNBA championship, if you want to beat the Connecticut Sun, these are the players that you want on the floor. So that's my analysis for today. I don't know, tell me what you think about that analysis. Tell me what you think, if those are the players that you want on the floor come fourth quarters during playoff time. What else do you use to evaluate players as far as their performances and whether they're winners versus talented players? And do you also believe that there's a difference between winning players and talented players? So again, thank you so much everyone for the support. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.